Jason Baffrey, you better fluff up your hair because we are live, sir.
Oh, my hair does not fluff, ladies and gentlemen, but I am here and we welcome you to Coach Talk TV, where we believe that coaching and coaches are an essential part of human development. You're going to learn how having a guide in your own personal development can change your life, improve your relationships, and enhance your work experience. I'm Jason Baffrey. This is Rhonda Boyle, and you are watching Coach Talk TV, where we have coaching conversations that matter.
Yes, we do have amazing conversations that matter with coaches from around the world. If you're joining us, say hey, come on in to the chat box. And yes, we have Deanna Farrugia tonight. She's amazing.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
It is going to be an amazing time because she's an author. Look, I have her book in my hot little hands, the Life Strengthening Book. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. Hey, and we hope you've been joining us. This is our second week of our Discover Coaching series. And we have been learning from some amazing coaches, haven't we?
Yeah, it's really been great. I love when we do these. And if you missed yesterday's show with Val Grotrian, please go back and watch that. And if you missed last week's shows, you need to go back and watch those. You can find those on our Facebook page, or just type in coachtalk.tv. It'll take you straight to the Facebook page. You'll get all of the shows, or you can find the podcast on iTunes and your other favorite podcast outlets. And so you can listen to the audio there, or go to our YouTube channel as well.
There you go. We're like everywhere now, huh?
We are.
Yeah, nobody's clamoring for our autograph yet, though.
Not yet.
Not even my kids want my autograph, Jason.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that.
I know.
I would get your autograph, but I never see you. So, I mean, in person.
I know. People don't even realize that we're literally across the city from one another and haven't seen each other for a year. That's kind of crazy.
Funny. Well, and now we're quarantined, so it doesn't matter. I know.
Hey, Anne Marie Colelli. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. She says the Life Strengthening Book is amazing. Thanks so much for joining us. We're glad to have you here today. So, Jason, I've been thinking.
Is that right?
Yeah. You know, we've got a country to go back to work pretty soon, I think, right? So that's going to present some new challenges.
Yes. Yeah, we've talked about some of those throughout the past couple of weeks. Obviously, the COVID virus has taken over segments of our show because, while there's a lot of bad going on, this does offer some people, a lot of people, some options in their life and their career, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And
please,
there are going to be people making career changes as a result of being home and realizing that maybe they want to be home. Maybe they realize they haven't been doing what they should be doing or really want to be doing. And this little break for many people is giving them the opportunity to think about that and maybe even get started on that home-based business or even working from home. So yeah, a lot of changes coming up, but I think a lot is for the good.
I think so.
Diminish the tragedy that we've experienced as a country and a world through all of this, but there are going to be good things that come as a result, I think, for individuals and especially in the job and the career market.
Yeah. And I don't think people can see that yet. So it's, still gives them that anxiety and that, they can't see clearly what they want yet. And so, it's going to be a process. And I think that the greatest gift we can give ourselves and one another is compassion.
Yeah.
Just being gentle. I always think about, and I hear my ear picks up on people who are shoulding all over, I should do that. They're shoulding on themselves.
This is a family show.
It is a family show. I said should, I should do this and I should do that. Well, guess what? I don't want to. Maybe you don't want to. And maybe that's okay for right now. So I think that we're all coming to grips with what? Are we 5 weeks now?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I found myself just last week asking like 6 or 7 times in a row, what day is this again? I
Oh,
couldn't remember the day. Like I really literally forgot what day it was.
Yeah, I understand. I had to venture out today to run an errand and I needed to write the date down. I'm like, I have no idea. And I was like, oh yeah, it's April now.
Right. And it was the first time you'd written April.
Yeah. And so, the irony is that I have a fair amount of optimism, regardless of the fact that my positivity is so low in my strengths. But I've felt fairly positive throughout this entire process.
Yeah. Well, and it is time. That's great. And that's something that we definitely need to either drum up or borrow from somebody if we have
Maybe it's because
to.
I've seen you so much on here.
Oh my gosh. Well, I tell you what, I cannot wait to introduce y'all to our guest today because she hasn't been through one crisis. Oh, no. She hasn't been through 2. She is now a master at knowing how to maneuver through something like this. And I cannot wait to for you guys to hear her story. So let me introduce her to you, or you to her right now. So Deanna Farrugia is the author of the life-strengthening book, One Lesson at a Time, right here in my hot little hands. And she is a certified investment management analyst, Gallup Certified Strengths Coach, a certified DISC and Motivators Coach, a certified public speaker, a culture strengthening specialist, and she loves to work with those who desire to do better, especially emerging executives. And she helps guide them towards purposeful and intentional careers and helps them avoid burnout. That is amazing.
Hi.
There she is. Deanna, how you doing?
Good. How are my 2 new favorite people?
Oh, we are fantastic.
We are fantastic. And boy, you have a whole lot of initials by your name.
Maybe I should add crisis management. I don't know, So
you know what? It might be and that's really how we really want people to know, because you are now a master at really.
If I can add that to it, sure.
I think you should. So help everybody know what we're talking about crisis when we're talking about
All right. So and this is all about fear mapping, to be quite honest. So it's really about creating new normals and understanding where you are and being your own hero and making sure that you have the right people and the right tribe around you. And why I can collectively say that is because, as we were talking before the show, I was in the World Trade Center in 9/11. I was on the 34th floor. That came with a lot of trials and tribulations, and understanding what your purpose is and what your value is, and always making sure that you're picking yourself up for the right reasons. I was in Boston during the Boston bombing. So I think my family was like, can you please stay home,
And now you're home, Deanna.
So now we do have an unconfirmed case in our family, but we do have my 10-year-old who was not feeling well and had the same symptoms as this COVID. And we're in New Jersey, so we're sort of in this epicenter of what's happening. You got New York City, you got ships coming in, so the one thing that I'll tell everybody is it's an emotional management time. Everybody wants to say crisis management. And I'm telling everybody it's about emotional management. And it's okay. Like you had said, it's okay how you want to be right now because you're creating your own path.
Yeah, I really love what you're talking about as far as emotional management. And absolutely, that's where we are. I mean, with everybody being anxious and fearful. I mean, all of those negative emotions everybody's feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's okay too. It's a time to understand that vulnerability has its own power. You are allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be angry. It's about compartmentalizing all of these stresses and anxieties and labeling them at the same time, and just be kind to yourself because this is an uncharted territory. We have all of this anticipatory grief that we have no idea what tomorrow's going to bring. Let's just be intentional about today and just be emotionally safe.
Very good. So what have you learned through all of all these trials? And I mean, aside from being emotionally safe, obviously your job and how you approach your job and your life have been affected. So tell us a little bit about that transition that you must have been going through.
Yeah, I think it really taught me how to compartmentalize a lot of stress and anxiety, to not let it overwhelm you. If you let it overwhelm you, there's a part in my book that I actually talk about how to compartmentalize stress.
Hmm.
And what that means is don't let it swirl around you in like a tunnel of, have you ever been to Chuck E. Cheese?
Yes.
I call it Chuck E. disease. Sorry,
Right.
it's kind of gross. But do you know at the end of the party when these children are so excited in this tunnel ticket of hell, I call it, there's thousands of tickets flying around them and they only grab like 5 of them,
Right.
and if you think about that's stress. You have all of the stress around you. So let's just neatly compartmentalize it and take one down at a time that you can handle.
Hmm. That's a very nice analogy.
Chuck E. disease, sorry.
So I'm hearing some feedback, Jason. Are you hearing that? I just want to make sure we're good.
Yeah, every now and then it cuts in and out. So
Okay. So Deanna, help us know why you do what you do.
Why do I do what I do? I'm actually hearing a little feedback as well. I'm just going to see if it can be my microphone. Bear with me. Okay. That might be better. Why do I do what I do? I do what I do because I meet people where they are to propel them to being a better person, a better professional, because it cross-pollinates into having a happier, more successful life. So I was on Wall Street for about 25 years. It was an amazing career. I loved it. I was intentional. I was purposeful. I added a lot of value, for lack of a better word. And, until that one pivotal moment, that one pivotal day. And I tell the story over and over again where I had a very big goal, and my goal was about $320 million, and I was about fifth or sixth in the country, so wasn't doing too bad. But I got that one phone call, and which every phone call you want to get as a high performing sales executive, hey Deanna, you got that $51 million trade. I was super excited for about 11 seconds, and I said, ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, I just made a lot of money. I just kicked out 21% of my sales goal. Why am I not super excited? So I realized it was about the people and the engagements that I was having versus talking about the investments that were in my bag. And that's actually what brings your world and my world together, because that's how I became a Gallup Certified Strengths Coach. And so I realized that all of the experience that I have, I can bring it forward and I can help people be better at what they want to do. I can help people work on their life when they're in. And that's my purpose. And that's why I do what I do.
Wow. Now you love working with emerging leaders.
Yes.
So tell us now, an emerging leader is someone who's working their way up professionally.
Yep.
So what kind of challenges do they have typically?
So there's multifaceted when it comes to challenges with the emerging leaders. And this is why I find them unbelievably satisfying. And I'm just glued to everything they have to say. And their growth is monumental because they have to learn to be their own brand. Number one, they have to be able to talk about themselves with intention. You're going for a job, make sure you're not going to a job that they want a box for you to sit in. You have to be comfortable in that. You have to be able to write your motivator. What motivates? How are you going to articulate that? What's your confidence? How are your confidence level? And also, a very big part of it is having a professional presence, and that means how you speak, how you come across, and basically, again, building your personal brand is just unbelievably important. When you think about college, and then you think about your executive life, there's a big gap in between there. And no one's taking that moment to say, hey, listen, Let's work on you as a human, you as an individual. Let's get you the best professional life you can get so you never reach burnout. Because I know what burnout looks like.
Yeah, that's really great information. And something that I really think more, I mean, like you said, I mean, coming out of college and going into a professional career, it'd be great to have somebody to kind of hold your hand along the way there to help that transition, because as much as you may think you're ready, you're really never ready for that, that transition.
Yeah, and as you know, me having learner in my top 5, I love being on this amazing learning curve at all times. And when I work with the emerging leaders, the emerging executives, I'm not telling them how I did it. I'm telling them some of the mistakes that I made. That makes me a little much more valuable to them than just say, do it the way I did it, because no, I'm going to meet you where you are and we're going to propel you. You're going to probably be able to teach me at some point.
Yeah. So can you describe a time where you had a one of your clients had a particular big breakthrough or a big transformation?
Yes. And actually, I love this story because this is how I learned I love these emerging leaders and emerging executives. I was asked to go to Rhode Island to run a workshop for these emerging leaders coming out of college. And it was a strengths-based workshop. So I had them all take the Gallup Strengths Finder assessment. And there was a female in the room, and she was extremely nervous. And I could tell because the piece of paper was shaking as she was talking. And I put it in my head, I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna give her more confidence walking out of this room than she's ever had before. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to build her up through her talent, through her strengths, and have her understand that she's just as important as everybody else in this room. And by the end of the 4.5-hour workshop, she got up and she presented her brand statement. And can I just tell you, her paper was no longer shaking. And I knew from that minute that I wanted to work with these individuals that need us as humans, that have gone through that and had that shaking piece of paper. And you don't have to be that way, because we need to be intentional of who we are.
Yeah, that's great.
That's an amazing story. Because I think, you know, a lot of people care. They when you're talking about an emerging leader, you're talking about someone who hasn't made it yet in their ideal of where they want to go. And because of that, they're going to have somewhat of a lack of confidence.
Sure.
Yeah, but by building them up in how they're naturally gifted, you know, it is empowering, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be able to talk about yourself intentionally. So I actually was coaching, and I'll leave her name out of it for obvious reasons, but she's a professional ice hockey player. And she went to an Ivy League school, and a lovely human. And she just wasn't really articulating her value the way she should. And so what we did is we did her strengths, and we built her own brand ambassadorship profile. And she told me one day and said it worked. I said, what do you mean it worked? You know, and she said, I went to the Harvard Club and I had this conversation, just use the intentional words that we talked about. I delivered who I am, and now he's a potential client. And that is worth more than anything in the world to me.
It's so true. As coaches, we get the opportunity to witness someone in their transformation experience. It's just amazing. And apparently you have a fan club here tonight. Ryan says that you helped him so much.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, coaches can bring that perspective that is missing, because it's unlike counseling, which, you know, we're going to tell you and we're going to explore your past and, you know, all that. Coaches actually bring our gifts to share with you. So it becomes a very collaborative and cooperative experience that's really all about you, though. You meaning the client. So
absolutely, sure.
Yeah, I think this is why I think people feel sometimes when they have coaching, help me know if this has been your experience, is sometimes for the first time ever, we give them permission to be who they are.
Oh, bravo for what you just said. 100% put it on a billboard. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody said it before me. But, I remember, very clearly going through my own personal transformation process and then coming out and having the right language to describe how I'm gifted in ways that had been denigrated for years. I remember as a kid being teased for things that now are the most powerful space I live in,
I love it.
And sometimes she still gets teased about those, but she had
Yeah,
I
but
would never tease
we're
you,
doing it.
Rhonda.
It's me teasing and telling my own stories, right?
right.
But as a kid, it's not like that. Or as a new leader who's stepping in, with the paper shaking and the wobbly legs a little bit because they almost may have like an unworthy feeling. And that, really being able to examine what they bring to the table and having that brings so much confidence.
Yeah, and confidence is really the key word there. It's confidence, it's courage, it's being who you really are innately and bringing it to the world. Because I say, people need you as a human, but you need yourself first. And you have to understand who you are first to be able to be your own hero before you bring it out to the world, and that's what my passion is now. It's just really people and getting them from this place to this place in a very amazing manner.
Right. We have another coach joining us who says that often we are the only person in a client's life, or at least for a long time, to ever do that for them and ever really listen deeply.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jason?
Those connections are beautiful.
Obviously you've had the opportunity to touch a lot of people's lives and help them in their careers. What is the response you get from that? I mean, ever had the biggest compliment or the best thing happen as a result of helping somebody?
Someone asked me, Deanna, can you go for coffee? I said, sure. So we met for coffee, and he looked at me right in my eyeballs and he said, you changed my life. And I'm like, me? He just was talking to me about how I changed because I do, it's full faceted what I do, right? So I helped him with time management and having 12-week years versus 12-month years and understanding how to channel his strengths, making sure we're doing it in a not very stressful way and how to feed his motivators. And he told me flat out that he was over 60% of his goal by the second half of the year. And he's actually told me I changed his family life at this, because listen, we all know this as coaches. What we do is we provide a safe space for someone to cross-pollinate their professional life and their personal life and make sure that it's completely cohesive so that we're fed at all times. We're intentional in everything that we're doing.
Yeah, I think oftentimes or at least we feel, or it happens to be so, that we sacrifice one part of our lives for another. So if we're running for the paycheck or we're running for the promotion, then we lose in the family arena. Or or we lose in the health arena, or we lose in the somewhere, if we're instead, working and dealing with the family and the job, maybe we're not chasing the job, and then we have the financial consequences that come from that. So there's a lot involved in having a fully integrated, fully aligned life, and it takes time and energy and working with someone, I believe firmly.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
What are you seeing as a result of the lockdown and the virus and what we've been experiencing? And we've talked about this with some of the other coaches we've had on in the past week. But I mean, what are you seeing that you think is going to happen as we come out of this and people in their jobs and their careers and that sort of thing?
It's going to be a new normal. And that's what's very scary for many people. A new normal and creating a new normal is probably one of the most fearful things people have, because I think I had said before, it's anticipatory grief. We don't even know what we're grieving right now. We don't know if we're grieving our job, our loved ones. We don't know if we're going to be able to hug our loved ones in the next week, month. We don't know, right? So it's the emotional unawareness is what's happening. And, what's also happening is there's a sense of who am I, what am I doing, what are my vulnerabilities, and who can I share them with?
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge, because you realize in a time like this, characters, your character flaws or your amazing character traits are exposed. And it's those that are looking to catch you are those that are going to be your tribe after this. Your tribe will change. But if I could just tell everybody, you're going to be okay. We're always exactly where we have to be to get to the next level. And how I can prove that to you is because you are here still today. And we have resilience, and we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely true. We are going to be okay. In fact, I'm going to suggest that we're going to be better after we get through with this transition, because that things are going to change. It's this new normal, and it's going to be different. And some of the things that we are attached to right now are going to go away.
Sure.
And I think what you're talking about, that anticipatory grief, is that we're not even sure what to anticipate we need to grieve about. Sure. And so how about if we don't do any grief yet? How about if we wait for a minute and see what other possibilities there are? Because I really believe that if we look at it and we see, we start to think about, because what you think about, I believe you bring about. And so if we can start looking at what we want instead of the chaos that's going on right now, if we can start to step out of that and look what the future possibility could be for us, then we have something new to focus on and to look forward to.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's your positivity coming out, right? So that's a beautiful thing. Package that up and sell that, because a lot of people need that. It's really, this is what I've been telling everybody too. Me, within my company, Perspicacity, right now, I am about the people, not for the profit. And what I mean by that is, how can I help right now? I've been taking people through their strengths and their talents. And you know what it does? The number one thing that it does, it distracts them from everything that's been swirling around them. And it helps them be more intentional. I was working with this financial services leader 2 days ago, and she said to me, "Oh my gosh, this is what I have to feed my motivators right now, and I'm not." And how I can explain that is, when I go to bed at night, if I'm restless, it's because I didn't feed a motivator. And what my motivators are, I need to learn something every single day, or it's a wasted day for me. It doesn't have to be, learning a whole encyclopedia, or, it just has to be one thing. Or it also, one of my other motivators is to make sure that I got the return on any emotional investment that I gave out there. And it's just really about with who you are as a human, and be your own hero right now. You don't have to be anybody else's hero but your own.
Yeah, that is so right, for sure.
Deanna, the book that you wrote is, I just had it, Life Lessons, the life strengthening book, one lesson at a time. There we go. And what made you decide to write a book?
Since I was 5 years old, I've always wanted to write a book.
Really?
And I'll tell you where that even comes from. When you're in a family that's Generation X, I'm just going to put it more of a broad, Generation X, we're sort of left to our own devices. There was maybe, some challenges in when you're a child, whether it be divorce or fighting in the household. And you have to develop these amazing mechanisms or coping mechanisms. And my coping mechanism when I was a child was, I had this one book, and it was The Frog and the Toad. And I would copy the book, and I'd write my name at the bottom like I wrote it. And I said to myself, I'm going to write a book one day. I had this amazing professional pause last year. And I said, if I don't use this time wisely and make sure that I am to my best ability, write that book. Because what happens if next year, 2 years ago, you said, wow, I've had that professional pause, I didn't write that book. You know who I'd be disappointed in? Myself.
Right.
So I don't, I always wanted to write one. And someone said, how long did it take you to write that book? I said, it took my whole life.
Right.
It did, So, people ask me, hey, Deanna, when did you find time? And I got to tell you, I wrote the entire book in my phone.
Wow.
And what that means is when I'm driving down the street, if I had a thought, I would pull over and I'd write. I'd be in the gym, lifting weights, and I would put the weight down and I'd write, and then I started emailing it to myself. And I wanted a book that spoke to many, not just one. And what that means is I read a lot of books, and you don't ever want to be in a book club with me. Maybe you do, but because I don't read books that are like something I can watch in a lifetime. I need to learn something in it. So I'm a little bit of a boring read, but anyway, I hate when I read a book about one idea and I didn't connect to that idea. So I said, what if I write something that I would want to read? So it's the Life Strengthening book, one lesson at a time. And there are 47 lessons in the book. So what they are is they're not connected to each other. They're not called chapters. They are 47 lessons. So what I ask my readers to do is take a look at the table of contents, read the lessons, see what you connect to, flip to that page, read that lesson. And if there's one thing I will tell everybody out there is you cannot read something and then not have an action after that. So after every lesson in my book, there's an action to take, whether it be big or small. So again, you can pick up the book when you're feeling low and or you're feeling that you're not connecting with somebody or relationships or whatever it may be, and then go to that. The lessons are no more than 4 to 5 pages, and then there's an activity at the end. So that sums up the Life Strengthening book, one lesson at a time.
I love it. It's really, really a great little book that can give you something to hang on to and to work on for 47 days or longer.
Sure.
Actually longer, because some of the lessons take a little longer. I think that one of the reasons I think it's a super important book, and Deanna, I'm going to get you after the show's over to go pop the link in because we want people to go buy their copy right here. Yes. And I think that people are starting to recognize, we've been told for how many years, dozens, to meditate and to reflect and to do, some of that stuff. And we don't often do it, because I think most of us have this idea that meditation is all, and it's not that, and so we get distracted. And what the book offers us is one tiny little step at a time. Yes, you want this book. Somebody's saying they want the book. So we're going to pop the link in.
Thank you.
Afterwards. But you definitely, it gives you what you're saying is it get what you've provided here rather is an opportunity to read, reflect, and then do.
Yes.
So you actually go and apply it right now. And I think that takes the boredom factor out for, people who think that this reflection is going to be yawn material,
Mm-hmm.
Like Jason, you're reflecting all the time. So you don't need to be taught how to reflect.
He's reflecting right now. Hello, Jason.
That all the time. Which is a perfect partner for me here who's yapping all the time. But no comment from the peanut gallery there, Jason.
I'm good.
Too funny.
I can have a whole conversation with him sitting right there and he never gets a word in.
It's something being at home.
Just like being at home.
That's fantastic.
Katie Baffrey, I love you. Anyway, I do want you guys to go get the book because it could be an important, opportunity for you to grow and develop. And you know what? That's what we all need to be doing. I don't know if anybody has figured this out yet, but you're really not here to earn a paycheck. Sorry.
Well, I think Dean is a perfect example of that. I'm still hung up back there at $51 million, I think. And
I
I know
didn't
that was
make $51 million.
I know.
But it was a pretty good payday for me.
Right. I'd have to think that was a pretty good day. But I mean, if you're
right.
that wasn't what fulfilled you. And
Mm-hmm.
now you are, it seems that you are doing something that much more fulfills you because you're able to really affect and change people's lives. And I think in the long run, that is much more important than, the big payday. And
that is my payday now.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, Buck, you know what I do? Which is when I go to bed at night, I collect bucket of thank yous. Bucket or pinches of thank yous, or this is how you changed me, or this is how. That's so unbelievably rewarding to me. I wish somebody would have taken the time when I was 23 years old and said, help me.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a generation of people who may be ready for that, thankfully.
Sure.
Well, and I think the generation of people that maybe didn't get that and realize how important it could have been in our lives, and now we see the opportunity to give that back, and maybe skipped a generation or something, almost like an apprenticeship. But I mean, I know that's not what we're talking about. But I mean, having somebody that can kind of lead you along and guide you, and working with a coach, obviously can do that to a certain extent. But I mean, somebody like Deanna, when you're really helping these leaders when they need it most, I think is incredibly important.
Yeah. Love that.
It's rewarding.
It is. So one last piece of advice before we close up. Tell us what you think everybody should, give us one tip that people can take away today that's going to help them maneuver through what we've got to transition through coming up.
I think you have to have personal patience and perseverance and be kind to yourself. You don't have to draft this huge painting on the wall. Just make sure you put a dot and do an intentional dot every day. We don't have to create masterpieces right now. We just have to make sure we're our own masterpiece in our own minds. Make sure that the people in your life are sitting beside you, not necessarily behind you or in front of you. And everybody right now needs to show the human side. And I keep telling everybody at Perspicacity, yes, do we charge? Absolutely. But at Perspicacity now, I care more about the people than I do about the profit. So reach out, So it's Deanna at theperspicacitygroup.com. Tell me what you're challenged with. Tell me what I can help with. I'm not Superman or Superwoman by any means, but I can definitely lend a good ear and a helping hand, and I'm here to help. So we're going to be okay.
I so believe that, Deanna. I have that positive spin I get to put on everything.
Yes. Yes,
but that's what allows me to, survive and thrive in these times, is to, keep that positive outlook. So trust me, very grateful.
And if you don't know what your innate strengths are, let's talk about taking that assessment. If you haven't taken that assessment in the last 10 years, change in your life, it may not change the top 5, but it'll make you be more intentional about how you use them. Sure. I always tell people, take your top 5 talents and always keep them on a vertical shelf. Take 1 or 2 down at a time, to either 1 at a time or cross-pollinate 2, and use that to get the task that's in front of you done. And if you don't know how to do that, call on people like us. They can help you do it and guide you down that path.
That's it. Yay. Well, we are so glad that you would come by and hang out with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. This is fantastic.
Well, we would love for you to pop links to the book and to your company in the chat box, because we want people to find you.
I love it. Thank you.
So, yeah, we've had quite a few people here. Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, Deanna, what's your website, just so if people are listening back to the podcast, they can track you down?
Thank you. The website is www. Do I need to say that anymore? The Perspicacity Group, and it's THE for the Perspicacity, PERSPICACITY group.com. or just shoot me an email. I have individualization. I want that one-on-one contact. So my email is Deanna, and it's spelled like Deanna. So it's DEANNA at theperspicacitygroup.com. And I really would love to hear from everybody that's on this call.
And for all of those people that are watching and like me and don't know what in the world perspicacity means, can you share with
We
It's going to be a household name. I promise everybody this. Everybody's going to be like, oh, you're so perspicacious today.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. And somebody is reading, Marie Gallagher is reading your book now.
Hi.
Yay.
Oh, Marie. Mwah. Thank
Wonderful. You. Okay, so there, I put the link to Perspicacity Group right there in the chat box. So, and we have Michael Morrison coming in saying, wonderful words of wisdom, Deanna.
Oh.
Yeah, we totally agree. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
so good to have you with us. All right. So
Deanna,
we will
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And we'll obviously talk soon. When everybody that watches this show, this has been fantastic. So hope you got something out of this and everybody's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks, Deanna.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. Wow. What an amazing person she is, having been through, like, who can imagine the 9/11 and then the bombing in Boston and then now the coronavirus. And
I didn't ask her. I should have asked her if she was on the plane, with Sully when it went down into the Hudson.
No, she doesn't need another. We don't need to put her in another situation.
I actually know somebody that was on that plane, so that's.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed today, and thank you so much for joining us. And we will be back tomorrow with another amazing guest, amazing coaching conversation that matters. And we hope you'll join us.
Yeah. Don't forget, you can find us at coachtalk.tv. That'll take you straight to our Facebook page, or if you're on Facebook, just look us up. Also, go to our YouTube channel and please subscribe and ring the little bell to get notifications. And then also, you can find our podcast if you just want to listen to the audio. You can find that on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and all of your other favorite podcast outlets. But if you go on to iTunes, give us 5 stars. And write a comment. Maybe that'll help us move up somewhere from the bottom of the heap and show up in somebody's searches for business and development shows and that sort of thing. And we'd love that. So anyway, you can find me on social media. My name's Jason Baffrey. All you have to do is search Baffrey, Baffrey. And you can track me down on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
There you go. And you can find me at rhondaboyle.com or at Coach Talk TV.
All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everyone. Thanks for joining us.